Unfortunately, I have the memory of a goldfish, so I have to have my points on paper. Alright, thanks Zara. That was, yeah, we have gone through some very, very similar experiences on social media. I mean, today everyone does have an online presence, apart from the 5 people who said they didn't. You know, just like we all have a name, we have an online personality. I know I do, and it's not necessarily always a true reflection of who I am. An online existence gives us all a manner of freedom, of expression and choice. It's a right we all have to enjoy as part of everyday life. However, that can quickly be eroded by what we have come to identify as online trolling, or as some know it as cyberbullying. An internet troll / cyberbully is a member of an online community who deliberately sets out to attack, disrupt, upset and offend, just generally cause distress. And this is usually by comments or photos or any form of online content. They can be found all over the internet: WhatsApp, hobby forums, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, gaming sites, literally anywhere online. They can launch an attack at any time on anyone and can leave you feeling extremely vulnerable, unsafe and very, very upset. This can usually result in a lot of social, psychological and educational impacts on the victim, which I'm sure Emma is going to cover. And we must not overlook the fact online bullying is every bit as destructive as face-to-face bullying, if not, sometimes it can be worse, in my experience. One single posting of an insult, such as a comment on someone's looks, hair or weight, can become viral by repeated sharing. Imagine someone highlighting your very deepest insecurity and pointing it out online and then having that shared or commented on by hundreds of people. I mean, this is like your deepest insecurity. It's not a very nice feeling at all. Online bullying provides the perpetrator a sense of distance from their target, so there is an immediate lack of guilt, feedback or consequence. They perceive themselves to be in a position of strength, hence the term, I'm sure many of you have come across it, keyboard warrior. So it makes it difficult for the target to escape, as it can happen at all hours, and while in the comfort and safety of our own homes, which Tom touched on. Suddenly your sanctuary and your place of shelter from the world can rapidly become tainted and offer us no contentment at a time of need. And an endless amount of anxiety and unrest can result from such torment. And if I suffered this as an adult, feeling such unrest in my own home, knowing what was going on all these apps and on social media, imagine how that would affect a child. I can't. I'm so glad I didn't grow up with social media when I was younger. I don't think I would have coped at all. So yes, like Zara, I too appeared on the national TV show Love Island. No one anticipated its success and popularity, and in an instant I was catapulted from my everyday life as a digital marketing social media executive to being thrust into just the limelight and so coming out to so many followers on social media. We became public property overnight. Everybody had an opinion, be it both good or bad. And on leaving the show, pretty much like Zara, I descended into quite a dark place, owing to the amount of negativity focused towards me. I mean, granted there were positives and there were fans and, you know, some lovely, lovely people, but I would always let the negatives outweigh the positives. I don't know why. I would obsess. I would almost go looking for the negatives because I knew it would be there. I would put my name into Twitter and search to see, you know, what horrible things had been written about me, almost like tormenting myself. It did become a bit of an obsession. And some of the worst comments still resonate to this day. One of them being, "I effing hate you, I wish you would die of cancer." I mean, these people didn't personally know me. They were going by what was shown on a TV show from a whole day. It was put into 45 minutes. To have that level of hate for someone, I mean, there are some really, really strange people out there. And this was another good one. Sophie is the ugliest girl in there. Her skin is shit, and so are her eyelashes. I mean, it made me laugh so much, that one, because like, how and why would someone think, you know, commenting on something like eyelashes was actually significant. But being only human, I made the biggest mistake. I actually responded to the comments, which on reflection is exactly what I think these individuals want. I fed them by responding. And I think from my experience, people tend to make two mistakes when confronted with negativity. They either ruminate and obsess over the problem, as I did, or they try to numb their emotions, which I did as well with a lot of alcohol. So I think that rumination, like obsessing over it, is deceptive because you try to think things through. But obsession over the situation that caused me so much pain only reinforced the strength of the negative thoughts and emotions, so I started to believe that what these people were saying about me was true, and I just hated myself, and I thought, I don't deserve to enjoy the success of this anymore. I'm a shit person, I'm horrible, and I would just sort of hold myself up in my apartment and not really go anywhere. I didn't want to face the world. So yeah, numbing the emotions didn't work either, because you can't selectively numb an emotion. I tried to blot out my anger, and in doing so I blotted out a lot of my happiness and contentment, and avoided a lot of things which didn't help me deal with the situation. I literally just kept numbing and just not going anywhere, and literally for the year after Love Island, it was quite a dark place to be in. So yes, I made those mistakes, but today is a different story, and I'm so glad to be here talking to you, and hopefully this will have some positive effect. I never give my power away anymore by blaming others for the way that they feel. I've gone from being a target, from blaming, judging, criticising, to assuming full responsibility, and today I take a different approach of how I deal with their negativity. I ignore it, I laugh at it, I can be quite sarcastic on Twitter, back to the trolls. And I feel embarrassed for them, but mostly I pity them, because I think, you know, how negative a place must you be in to want to hate someone so much that you've actually got to put it out there. I've never understood that. No, like, why would you want to be so nasty about someone that you don't know? So yeah, so far we talked about being the target focus, but I think sometimes what we need to address is the trolls themselves. Who and what are they? There's a possibility trolls might be made rather than born, and are just ordinary people like you and me. In fact, new research shows that trolling is more situational than an innate characteristic. In other words, under the right or wrong circumstances, anyone can become a troll. So through a combination of experimentation, data analysis and machine learning, we can identify two key factors that make the average person more likely to troll. The first is their emotional state or mood. Trolling ebbs and flows with people's emotions depending on the time and day of the week, apparently. People are most likely to troll late at night and the beginning of the work or school week. Maybe they just don't like getting up on a Monday and they're a little bit miserable and just want to take it out on someone. I know that feeling, but you know, I wouldn't take that on anyone else. There is even some evidence of this mood spilling over from discussion into others. A person simply participating in the same discussion as a troll is more likely to troll in a later unrelated discussion. And the second factor is the context of the discussion a person is having. Seeing prior troll comments in a discussion doubles a person's likelihood of subsequently trolling. And it has a domino effect. The more troll comments there are at the start of a discussion, the more likely subsequent participants will also troll. So, for instance, on Instagram, when I post a picture and one troll starts saying it, and they're going to reply to their comments as the facility where you can reply to other trolls, and you know, just keep it going. And once one starts, they all want to start, and it is like a real domino effect. So, I mean, any person that wakes up on the wrong side of the bed has the potential to be a troll. It really is, you know, that easy. It's essential that I think we discuss candidly that thought and try to enlighten any individual thinking about becoming a troll. Once it's out there, it's done, like the toothpaste situation. You know, once it's there, it's not going to go away. And with the advent of screenshots and also IP address tracking now, you know, you can be found. I mean, like, you know, that in itself, you know, is I think, it's a kind of a scare tactic for trolls, you know. Don't do it because you'll be found. You can be arrested now. So yeah, once there's no turning back the clock, and there's no magic eraser that's going to get rid of it. Something written can come back to haunt you in years to come, when emotions at the time are nothing but a distant memory. Regret and shame are very bitter swills to swallow, so the simple answer is don't do it. I have a friend of mine called Paul, and his daughter Kat is a 12-year-old girl, normal girl, pretty girl, likes horse riding, she does a bit of modelling. At school they've been having a really hard time, and I sort of wanted to tell you about this because I'm speaking with her and sort of helping her through this. She's having a very, very hard time. And it's something that I actually went through at school. I went through a lot of bullying when I was younger, especially when I started modelling. It just seemed to really, really make some girls irate, and they were my friends, and it just turned on me for no reason, and it broke my heart. It really did. I couldn't understand it. So I asked Paul if I could share his experience, and this is his testimony about his daughter. So yes, it started firstly offline, face to face. Intimidation began from her getting on the bus all the way through the day, lessons and break times through to the return bus journey home. And then it went online, where the bully and her followers ran a poll asking, vote now, who wants to see Kat pushed over and hurt? And they responded with voice memos and online votes. Between Snapchat and WhatsApp, they were trying to torture her by saying things online, as if she was not seeing what they were saying, but they knew she was in the group. It's evil. So yeah, I have actually some screenshots which Paul has very kindly shared with me, because I just want to make you aware of that it can happen on WhatsApp and Snapchat. And they've got this thing that the kids are doing called show and covers. Anybody heard of it? Yeah. But I do think as teachers and heads that you should be aware of it. And I mean, the psychological effect that this can have on youngsters right now. So yes, this is just from the outset. Paul agreed not to spy on her phone. It was agreed if she was mature enough to have a mobile, then she should be aware it was one of his phones, and they've allowed her to use her phone as long as they've got open access. So these are ways that Paul's dealing with it. She's allowed WhatsApp only, and messages, no messages are to be deleted. Paul's been a really sort of understanding dad to the whole situation, and I think some parents need to learn to own up when their kids are trolls instead of denying it. He's had a very, very hard time with the parents of these girls who have been bullying and have been denying it, and he woke up to a message from one of the parents at about 4 o'clock in the morning for some reason, being, you know, let's put an end to this, let's put an end to this, I can't sleep. And it's like, well, no, I think it's gone too far now. But I won't go through all the situation of how they dealt with it. We need to wrap it up now. But yeah, the next slide, that's just a picture of Kat. That's little Kat. She's just a happy, normal girl. Yes, we'll go on to the next one. I'll show you this. This was one of my personal experiences very recently on Monday. The picture there you see is on my Instagram story, and I had an opinion on an article in a paper which was, I don't know if you know about it, it's Fern McCann, and her ex-boyfriend's in prison now because he sprayed acid over a club he hit about 17 people and badly scarring a few of them. And I keep seeing the article in papers, you know, why I've got to visit my ex-boyfriend in jail, and I just had an opinion on it. I just said we should stop using this to put her face out there. It's not right. I feel sorry for the victims. You know, I wasn't rude or I didn't swear. I just had an opinion on something. in hindsight, I shouldn't have done it because I knew I would get crap back, but because I had an opinion, I got like, this is the type of response. It's just very subjective, and I mean, F off you, slag, you're not in her position, quite frankly, aren't entitled to an opinion. So what I did, and some people might not agree with this, but this girl is actually local, and I searched for her name in Facebook. It was a Sunday, I had some time on my hands, and I put it in my status and said, if anybody knows this girl, you know, would they like to pass on the message that, you know, she can argue her point without being so rude, blah, 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 blah. And I actually tagged her work in it because she worked for a local gym, and I said she works here if anybody wants to pass on the message, because I just had enough. And then she saw it, and she messaged me again yesterday saying, wishing me good luck to come to this talk, and how sorry she was, and how she just had such a bad day, and I thought, yes, it was a kind of bad thing to publicly shame her, but the positive to come from it was that it made her realise, you know, the impact of what she said. So yeah, I was kind of glad, because now hopefully she'll be a better person for it. But yes, so I've got one more slide, just for a bit of a laugh. Different types of trolls. The more frequent troll I've come across is the insult troll, which is the main one that's seen in schools and by police. Actually, Paul was telling me, the father of Kat, was telling me that when he spoke to the police, I think they said that about 70% of their time was now taken up with cyberbullying and cyber trolls and things on social media and kids. But yes, the insult troll is a pure hater, plain and simple, and they don't even really have to have a reason to hate or insult someone. They're the types of trolls that will often pick on everyone and anyone, calling them names, accusing them of certain things, doing anything they can to get a negative emotional response, just because they can. In many cases, this type of trolling can become so severe that it can lead or be considered a serious form of cyberbullying. And I think we all know where that can end up, as we've seen in the news, you know. Kids, I think as young as 9, taking their own lives. Because that is, you know, as Zara said, that is the harsh reality of it, and I think something needs to be done. So yeah, I have actually got a URL for that, for all those different types of trolls if you wanted to have a look at that. But yeah, there we go. Thank you. Okay, any questions? I think Zara might have answered them all. Yeah, sure.
With Kat,
yeah.
what did the school do?
The school have actually been extremely supportive. They're closing in on, and Paul has actually said, I want you to stress, Sophie, how great the school's been. They've looked after, and they're actually closing in on the group, and they know the main perpetrator, and all the other girls who were sort of following this have backed off because they know it's going to stop. So yeah, it's still ongoing though, he said. The bullying, I mean, unless they take her out of the school, I don't really know what their answer would be. Yeah. Yes?
And just from the way you were talking, do you think there is scope for not only how to stay safe online, but something about reinforcing positive identity traits or emotional well-being, resilience, those sorts of things in schools?
I think so, yeah. I think, well, like I say, I think the education needs to be put towards perhaps stopping the trolls rather than how to cope with it. Let's nip it in the bud before it begins. And I do think that parenting also has a lot to do with it, emotional and psychological, and just making sure that your child is a good child and doesn't want to, you know, hate people for no reason. So yes, I think that there should be a way of managing trolls. Like say, for instance, you know, IP addresses can be tracked now, so just don't do it once it's out there for good. I mean, putting out murderous threats and saying you wish someone would die of cancer, if that comes round to bite you on the arse later on, you know, it could affect your ability to get a job, you know, just to be part of life. So I think that needs to be reiterated so much that just to not put it out there. Yes.
Thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you.
So you say it's really easy to focus on all the negative that is coming at you.
Yeah.
And you said you managed to get over that. What advice would you give them to young people to stop just looking at all the negative?
God, you've got to be so resilient not to. I mean, I think, depends on the person. It would be very, very hard to manage it because, you know what, it's just one click, one little search, and it's there, you can see it, it's so easy, it's in your hand when you're sat in your bedroom. I would say just try and rise above it and keep busy and realise what you've got around you. Focus on your friends and your family and the people that love you. Don't look for praise from people who aren't your people. Stop worrying what people think. But it's a very hard one to advise. I would never advise responding. Certainly not. I don't think you should meet hate with hate. I think reporting it would be the best way to go rather than responding, because you can just add flames to the fire. So, and from my own experience, feeding it, just no, it's not the way to go. It makes it worse. They like it. Yes.
Can I just add to your story there? I used to look after some secondary school up in a really quite a rural, small community. And social media is great for a lot of our students because they don't see each other very often outside of school because of the geographic location. But we have an ongoing issue with groups of girls primarily, but sometimes boys as well, in that same situation where something like your sort of friend Paul had exactly that same situation. We work very, very closely with those students and their families to get them all together, to resolve the differences, to understand it. And at one point you think, actually, great, we've got that, all the girls are all happy and fine, it stops. And then all it takes is just one comment from one of the students, goes away, and then the whole thing builds up again, and it's incredible. And some of the girls who have been in that situation said, right, one of the things is I'm going to switch off social media, and I'm not going to look at it.
Yeah.
But then we have this tremendous, and an anxiety then builds up, because they're worried about what everybody is saying on that social media app. So that's, what do we call it, fear of missing out?
FOMO.
It's FOMO, and it comes straight back again.
Yes.
And we put on, and people sort of talk about, well, what do you do about it? We believe that quite a lot of this work with the parents, and actually helping educate the parents to no longer think that I can't look at my child's mobile phone, I can't be interested in what they're doing, and going for that open access model about explaining to them and sort of sharing those things. Because what we're finding is those students, when they suffer these issues at school, if they feel they can't talk about it to school, if they feel they can't talk about it to parents, it builds up and turns into something which is really absolutely atrocious. So we're certainly in the situation of making sure that students know that they can come and talk to us about it, and as a result of that, we know a lot more about it, but it is like fighting fires.
Yeah,
we can't take them away from it. In fact, we were in the papers last year because we talked about, as a school, banning all mobile phone communication and actually putting a transmitter up into school, and then sort of suddenly got sort of taken out, completely out of context what we're trying to do, but we were trying to get the message. And I suppose we're still now, a year on after doing all that, I think we're very, very good at, we work with the police, we work with sort of social services, and everybody trying to help it, but every time we put out a fire, it just takes a spark to build up again. And we're now back into the sort of situation where we think if we could actually just not have mobile phones at all within school, during the daytime, the mental health of our children will improve enormously.
What are the rules like for mobile phones in schools? Is it only break times or?
Some schools around my school had mobile phones beforehand, and when I came in, like banned mobile phones and closed the serious conferences.
Yeah, good.
The parent takes it, and the amount of bullying that happens via social media in the daytime has lessened. So hopefully there's some kind of safe haven at school during the day, but when you get home or you leave school, they all walk out, they're on their mobile phones.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I mean, it's, admittedly, I'm addicted to my iPhone. My mum's here, she knows, she's always like, Sophie, hi. Like, you know, I'm lost in Instagram, and obviously I look after clients' social media for work, and it's just, It's 24/7.
Parents, this is fantastic. You need to do this with your kids to stop this happening to them.
It's human nature. I mean, some of the parents that he spoke to, like this, you know, the woman who texted him at 4 o'clock in the morning, they have denied all responsibility. It's a very, very tough one. Yeah. Yeah. I think in that case, all you can offer then is just a kind of counselling or whatever for the victims of it, and just, you know, let them know that yes, it is wrong, and we are here to support you, and you are not alone, and we'll try and get this nipped in the bud and stop.
At primary school level about use of social media and you know, online bullying. So I feel like we're all banging our heads together.
Have you ever had any parents who have been like parents of bullies just say, oh no, well, like, just not do anything about it, just say no, just that they do what they want?
I think parents is right talking to one of the things that you said before is that kids seem to know more than adults. Well, the problem is, I think, because if we're not careful, we try and talk about tech, whereas actually we need to be talking about behaviour. And as parents, we have that wisdom. We've been there. We've been the bullies, done the bullying, now understand the victimisation. We have that knowledge, so let's forget trying to out-techie the kids. Let's talk about the root problem, which is people's behaviour. Let's talk about people.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any scope for kind of engaging, empowering the children themselves to go home and sit with the parents and give them the information in a way that might be...
Well, ChildNet do a lot of their work, don't they, along that?
Yeah.
They do digital ambassadors and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a brilliant way of engaging parents. Parents are interested in what kids say.
What the kids want, what
And the kids tell them. It's critical. That's certainly and that peer-to-peer stuff, the peer-to-peer support is where it sits. Because they're not going to talk to adults because they're embarrassed, they're ashamed or whatever. So you've got to get a generation that can help each other.
I wonder if it would be better to, or maybe the only resort is to actually go into the homes of the parents.
Interestingly, the point about
Not all parents, but parents want to be children's friends rather than parents. Parents are not empowered. It's so difficult. I know in my school in particular, a lot of my parents haven't got the capacity to parent or to support children and understand things.
So maybe you need that mediator between someone who can connect with the child and connect with the parent at the same time.
When we're kind of lecturing or educating children on the dangers of mobile phones and all they see is their parents' phones in their hands. You know, I teach a really lovely area. I went to a hub there locally a few weeks ago, and there was a mum there, and she must have had an 18-month-old and a 3-year-old, and he was sat on her iPad, and she was sat scrolling through her phone, and to the point where I was so angry. I wanted to say something on things like working at you don't say that, but you know, it just seems like we kind of need to look at ourselves as well, because we, you know, children look to us and they see us, and we're you know, having mobile phones right in front of us on this table at the minute.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. And yeah, and they're not gonna appreciate it, and they're not gonna take the notice. They're gonna start doing it as well.
Yeah, mirroring. Yes, hiya.
What I say to parents in that situation is a motorway is really dangerous. We don't allow children to drive on a motorway, but my kids see me drive on the motorway every day. There is a parental responsibility to acknowledge that this tool that I choose to use as an adult is dangerous for a child.
Yeah.
And I frequently use that analogy with parents. You would not let your child drive your car.
Yeah.
They see you driving it all the time. They know it's okay for mum and dad to drive it, but they know that they're not ready for that yet. And there has to be some sort of groundswell, and it's really hard when we're typing these backers in school in our own little pockets, but there has to be some sort of groundswell of, you are giving your child something that is dangerous. You have to go through the same process as you would for learning to drive or going to the park on your own. We don't let toddlers cross the road and go to the park, so why do we give them an iPad?
then
and then
people
not
could
watch
argue
what
that
they're doing.
there's apps made for children and parents are just going, here, play on that while I, talk to my friends.
I'm sure if I'd got an iPad when I've got 3 children under 2, I am sure I would have given them an iPad for 5 minutes a piece so I could go for a wee or whatever. But it's about supervision and it's about appropriate use. And it's about saying
Time management.
you can play on that game whilst I'm watching you, but I'm not just going to give you my unlocked iPad and let you on YouTube.
God, no.
We can't pretend that social media is going to go away. So we have to learn how to protect children on it. Just like nobody's going to rip up the motorways. Well, we already have a really good system for protecting children on motorways, and we need to do the same with social media.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Okay, thank you.